When you work with organizations, have you seen any self-inflicted wounds? What are some mistakes teams are making that you're like, these are so easy to avoid, and they are bringing past practices that don't apply anymore, or they build new wrong practices that should not be there in the first place. The point is, what are some of the mistakes that they are making they should not make?
I hope people take a lesson more broadly as they're doing AI work in general. Is right. They're finding that you can recreate the whole system from the sources over and over and over again. This ICP, infrastructure as code. This is the same principle, right? That you don't want to build everything and then hope you never have to change it. The goal is to have a repeatable way to recreate the whole system and the whole process. And spending the time to do that and iterate through those things, that translates into velocity in the end. It's one of those challenges. The other thing that we found that's worth mentioning is, we have really deep, bespoke knowledge about how bare metal infrastructure works. And with, that knowledge is something that we've coded into digital rebar, but it's also something that we can show up for a customer and, get things going, get them over hurdles, move them past, challenging in configuration scenarios that might have otherwise taken weeks to unravel. Our team, because of our unique experience, can look past that and move straight to this root cause. It's just an aspect of us being the world experts in bare metal at this point. One of the ones we see over and over again is that the teams forget that there are knowledge layers in the organization and in their silos. Well, one of the problems that we see happen is that the platform team, so the people who are sort of running the model, trying to run Kubernetes, do AIOps, those teams make an assumption because they're using the models that they're going to be able to run and set up the infrastructure. And we see this problem. This isn't just an AI problem. We see this in enterprise quite a bit with Kubernetes running on bare metal for AI. A lot of virtualization pilots and AI pilots are stalled when the team that's trying to run the AI ops team or the virtualization admin teams, they don't have the bare metal expertise, but they brute force their way and they end up doing a whole bunch of manual, and they're learning bare metal at the same time they're trying to get their pilot running. And they're doing it because they want to just make the pilot work and be successful. But we've seen a lot of derailed pilots where they're taking months and months to get started or get the pilot complete so they can actually demonstrate the platform on top of it. And that's really frustrating because it means that their management confidence in their ability to execute is off. A lot of companies are trying to get off VMware, and those projects have taken a lot longer than they want to because people don't have the expertise to do, these alternate system setups anymore. And you have to bring in the teams that are responsible for running your physical infrastructure, or you have to find people like RackN who can actually come in and help and advise on how to do those, or bring in proven processes so you don't have to reinvent those processes. It's very hard to shortcut what those things are. And it's, really sad for us. We have some customers that trust us very deeply. They still fall in the trap of saying, "Oh, I want to let my OpenShift team take a swing at this and try and figure out how to do it." And it's like, well, you're going to be using the ops team and digital rebar anyway. Why don't you just let us help you at the beginning? And they still wall off that team and try to help them be successful as an isolated thing. And this isn't just one customer. I've watched this pattern repeat over and over and over again. And so it's this problem of, organizations are siloed, operations teams are separate from platform teams. They don't talk very well together. And, that lack of communication, that lack of sort of helping each other succeed, thinking about the long term, frankly, it slows projects down. We've seen it result in a lot of missed delivery objectives. We've seen it result in a lot of VMware renewals. We've watched it result in a lot of AI studies and applications that are stalled. And when people look at running their own AI infrastructure, and management thinks they can't do it, it's because of problems like that. It's completely untrue. We have very successful companies that are running AI at scale and delivering systems very quickly. And they're the ones that have the strongest process discipline.
If you were advising an enterprise that is about to deploy AI infrastructure, what could they do upfront to streamline the process in addition to working with RackN, of course?
The number one thing you can do is to set aside systems if you can. And some of these systems are so expensive, you can't actually set them aside. But is to take the time to actually walk through what the process is, understand what your automation targets are and how all of those pieces are going to fit together, and do it as a team. It's going to feel slow. It's going to feel like you're getting a lot of people involved. You're going to have to study how these systems fit together, and you're going to feel like you're learning, and you're spending a lot more time studying your systems and understanding things. But if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to replicate success. And I think that's the advice I would give somebody is that make sure that as you're going through this process, you understand how you got to a successful outcome. If you don't have a way to replicate what your successful outcome is and then tear it back down and start over and go through those steps again, and that can be hard if you're in a rush. If you can't replicate success, then you actually don't know why you were successful. You just got lucky. And I think that is the thing that I would tell people to think about, as they look at any IT work, but especially these AI workloads, is that you need to make sure you understand how you got to the place you want to get and be so confident in it that you can flush everything and start over. And if you're an executive and you want to test this theory, what you want to do is ask your people, all right, you got it working, reset it back to zero, and show me the whole process from nothing all the way through again. And if your team turns, starts looking very scared and nervous and doesn't want to do that, then they don't actually know how they got to the point of success. They're giving you a demo, and the demo might be fantastic, but without understanding how they did all the work to prep that, then you actually don't have a repeatable project. You've gotten lucky for AI in the moment, and at the pace AI is moving, luck is just not enough.